Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming here to celebrate the Pakistan's National Day. So I just would like to throw light upon the importance of Pakistan's National Day and the trajectory of relations between Pakistan and Ethiopia, and how the Embassy of Pakistan has been contributing in building the relationship between the two countries. So I would not take more than 10 to 12 minutes of your presence. The genesis of Pakistan was laid down in Lahore on 23rd March 1940. On 23rd of March 1940, under the leadership of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the great father of the nation of Pakistan, on its left side, and the right side is Allama Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, the philosopher and thinker of the concept of Pakistan. He gave the idea in 1936 that that the Muslims of India should have their own understanding that how they will live within this huge continent, which is in our common jargon is called subcontinent, that how the Muslims of subcontinent can live a better life during that time. So Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was a trained lawyer from Lincoln's Inn in London, he was the one who was the leader and who took the lead and did his struggle, constitutional struggle, for building the country, which is now present days called Pakistan. Allama Muhammad Iqbal was the conceptual father of that idea. This resolution was demanded on the basis that Indian subcontinent, which is a huge continent even at that time, where the large number of Pakistan Muslims population was living, they demanded that a country having a contiguous integrity, contiguous connectivity between all smaller and bigger zones should be converted into a country where the Muslims can live according to their own culture and traditions. If you look at this map, the green part of this map is actually the reflection in Indian subcontinent where the Muslims were in more than the majority. So if you see that the eastern, southeastern part and northwestern part, the entire contiguous region were inhabited by the Muslims. So the leadership at that time in 1947, according to this resolution 1940, they were all gathered in Lahore and passed the resolution that there must be some kind of a political and constitutional arrangement within the domain of British Crown that the Muslims of Indian subcontinent can live together. So that struggle, which started in 1940 from Lahore, in a minimum time of 7 years, turned into an independent Pakistan. Now, this is what the current Pakistan is. Earlier, it has two parts, as I just shown you the green areas, the eastern part, which was earlier called East Pakistan, later turned into Bangladesh. So now the West Pakistan, which is now Islamic Republic of Pakistan, according to the Constitution of 1973. So this was a little background of today's, that why the whole nation of 220 million people commemorate this day to recall and remember the sacrifices of our elders, of our forefathers, and our political and ordinary people, that those who struggle for the creation of this big nation. In today's world, Pakistan, which is a country of 220 million people, having an area of about 1 million square kilometer, is neighbored by India on the eastern flank, Afghanistan on the northern flank, China on the eastern, and Iran on the western side, with a long coast of 1,200 kilometers long coast on the Arabian Sea, is the neighbor of two big regions, one the Central Asian republics and Middle Eastern republics, along with the South Asian territory where we are. So Pakistan, in fact, has been working since its creation to build bridges between all these three major regions where we are located. Currently, if you look at the Pakistan situation, I'm talking about today's situation, that the country has been facing enormous challenges created by the climate change. Despite the fact that we are not one of the leading industrialized country or contributing towards the pollution, magnitude of pollution, but Pakistan is badly affected by the climate change, and in last 10 years, which has never been witnessed in the history of Pakistan's climate, that we witnessed two huge flood in the period of 10 years' time. And almost more than 1/3 of the country was drowned under the water because of that climate change, which has our forefathers have never seen such huge calamity. So that is the one area where we have been working a lot to create a kind of a resilience on the territory, which has been the source of for food and livelihood of 220 million people, and this is very, very important. And Pakistan, as an important nation, has been contributing a lot towards building a resilient climatic regime in the country, where we can have better livelihood opportunities and a sustainable agriculture, plus the industrialization and other urbanization phenomena. The last 3 years, as all the whole global world has witnessed the calamity of COVID, Pakistan was also one of the severe victims of that pandemic. And the COVID very badly affected Pakistan, and about millions people were badly affected. So I would say that, but Alhamdulillah, with the support of the government's policy and also the international collaboration, our generous friends from West and East all came together to lend their hand to help Pakistanis, and finally, after going through a very long turmoil of 2 years, the nation is now coming out of this huge pandemic. And Pakistan has been behind the international efforts as well to provide the best support where this disease has been creating a havoc with the life of the people. Third, and the most important, is the security. As you all are the diplomats and having a well understanding and well awareness of the region, we have been, surrounded by the eastern side is India, on the western side is Afghanistan. So the whole territory is in a very serious condition, because we have been offering the olive branch to our neighbors to come and have a dialogue with Pakistan and stop creating a problem, because this the situation is not suitable for right now for any nation to be embroiled for a very long period of time in useless conflicts. But the obstinacy and their rigidity, I think, is one major challenge where the Pakistan still needs a very strong support from the Western and from the Islamic and from the Eastern countries to come forward and lend their support to convince the leadership and the people of the two countries to, meaning support the dialogue, and started a kind of rapprochement between the two countries and living in a brotherly and in a friendly manner. That is a major challenge. On the northern frontiers in Afghanistan, again, the situation is not very good. And last year's evacuation was one of the very colossal, the challenge for the government of Pakistan. It was only the Pakistan which was the safe conduit for the entire world, those who were living in Afghanistan and for doing different kinds of activities, security operations and other economic activities. So it was Pakistan who actually granted the passage to the entire Western and Eastern world to have a safe evacuation from Afghanistan and, and lead a a life where we can have more and a more helpful for the people of Afghanistan. But believe me, the tragedy in Afghanistan is very, very tedious and very long. The nerves of those people are now shelled. They cannot live a life in these circumstances, at this time. So again, the message is that we, the world, should come forward with the generous hands to support the Afghanis in their internal settlement and reconciliation and make better efforts for their good life. Last but not the least is completion of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. It is a portfolio of about $52 billion, where the Pakistan is being provided a lot of generous support and assistance from the Chinese government. And the concept of building connectivity between China and Pakistan and other regional countries is at a very high momentum. Although I think more than 65% work on this project has been completed, and China has so far invested a huge amount, but the entire portfolio of this project was about $52 billion. And under that, the two major important components which are to be completed were the one, that energy crisis which has been faced to the country for quite 2 decades. And second was the construction of infrastructure, long connectivity between north and south and east and west. So I would be pleased to inform you that under this project, a very new energy project by the name of Thar Coal Energy Project in Sindh, which is contributing towards the national grid, around 3,300 megawatts has been completed. And 3 more dams are already under constructions. And once these all projects, which are gestation period of these projects is about 10 years, and within 10 years' time, it will generate more than 15,000 megawatts of electricity in the country. Once that electricity will be in the wires, I hope that the country's industrialization process would be on accelerated pace. Last few words about Islamophobia. Pakistan and the Muslim world particularly has been facing this challenge. It is a new kind of a racism in the world, which is badly creating rifts in the relationship of many East and West, North and South. So the idea is to promote brotherhood and fraternity among the religions, among the people of different faiths. And as I would like to mention here a very important reference from Quran, which says that verily those who have the faith in the divine writ, as well as those who follow the Jewish faith and the Sabians and the Christians, all who believe in God and the last day and do righteous deeds, no fear need they have, neither shall they be grieved. So this is the message which Quran has been given to us before, more than 1,500 years. And Quran has very categorically and explicitly explains that all the believers are the children or are the bandagone Khudawande Kareem. They are all the men of Almighty Allah. And if you do the right path, there is no difference among you. So the very foundation of the religious teachings is to have a more fraternal relations with all. But the Islamophobic tragedy or Islamophobic, particularly in the West, has been creating a lot of suspicions in the hearts and minds of the people from the Islamic faith. We have seen in the past such racialism, but without any, constructive development. So I would say that this is the agenda on which the government of Pakistan is actually working to promote international harmony and relations between the various groups. My last slide is relating to the current situation between Pakistan and Ethiopia. Very short and very brief, Ambassador Ridwan Hussain made a visit last year in February 2022 and announced to develop establish an embassy of Ethiopia in Pakistan, despite the fact that the economic situation in Ethiopia was not very good. And they also closed around about 13 embassies around the world, but they established one embassy out of 13 that was in Islamabad. So the reflection of diplomatic relations were very much manifested during the Tigrian wars, and we, as a member of the G77 and the members from the third world countries, fully supported the cause of the government of Ethiopia and lended our full diplomatic support at all multilateral levels. So there is, the feeling that we are the two nations who are destined together to move forward in coming days. Very important development is aviational linkages, and the code sharing has been signed between Pakistan International Airline and Ethiopian Airline. Now the passengers are traveling between the two countries without much difficulty. And inshallah, from 2nd of May 2023, Ethiopian Airline would make an inaugural flight between Karachi and Addis Ababa. Last week, a delegation of more than 100 people, less than 100 people, sorry for exaggerating, it was between 70 and 100, came from Islamabad and visited various parts of Ethiopia, and they were all here to have a bilateral business-to-business meetings. And the entire delegation had a very successful meetings with a number of leading Ethiopian delegations here in various sectors, particularly in chemicals, in textiles, and in pharmaceutical industries. So the group was here. That's a photograph at my residence last week. So I'm happy that this development has taken place between the two countries, and inshallah, I have no doubt that this trajectory will go forward to the height of its zenith. With these words, I am grateful for your presence once again, and I'm sorry if I took a little more time, but my promise was 12 minutes. Thank you.